All right. What is going on, guys? It is time for another episode of the Chasing Waypoints podcast. Change it up a little bit. Get that a little bit of a raspier voice there. Make it sound a little bit more epic, because do we have an epic show for you today? We have one of the Baja legends, one of the fastest guys on two wheels in Baja. I'm going to challenge him to a race. I can use all 6 gears in my KTM. He can use the first 2 gears on his Honda. And he'll still be waiting for me at the finish line. Yep, he is that fast. Not only that, there's a lot of stuff. I'm actually excited for today's show to talk a little bit about a little bit about the accomplishments, a little bit about the future, a little bit about what is going on now, and then some. But I am absolutely excited. It has been a while to get him on the show. He's been super busy, but he's always been willing and ready to go and get on there. Met him a few years back at the Baja Rally event. He's dipping his toes into Rally Raid. And was very, very humble in talking to him, and it was absolutely stoked on my behalf. You know, when you finally meet somebody and you're not really sure how it's gonna go, you kind of think, man, you know, this is like the top of the top, and you end up meeting them for the first time, and it's like you're talking to just anybody else on the street, you know, just another buddy, just another guy, but so much talent on 2 wheels and so much speed on 2 wheels. So, who are we talking to today? None other than Colton Udall. Pro Moto Unlimited racer, rally racer, adventure rider. Got a couple of adventure rides in there. I saw him on the Africa Twin. Still fast. Making that thing still look like about a 450. So, definitely excited to talk to him tonight. And, well, tonight for me, it is Thursday night, but you guys are going to be having this episode with your coffee Sunday, 10 a.m. So I hope you guys enjoy the episode. We're going to get right to it. So let's see if he is on the line. First of all, we got to turn the party down here because, you know, can't go in full send with the rock music. But let's see if we have got him on the line here. Let's just give me just a quick second. All right, Colton, you there?
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Nice.
Good to be on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome. Thank you for taking some time off the bike.
Yeah. I've been busy riding motorcycles, and you know,
nice.
That's what it takes, right? To be a dirt bike guy, is riding dirt bikes.
Yeah. I'm quickly learning that lesson. I noticed this weekend that I'm missing a bunch of seat time. so
yeah.
Nice. So I mean, right to it. So you're up in kind of the high desert area. Is that where you do a lot of your riding, or?
Yeah. I bought 5 acres in Apple Valley Highlands, which is kind of the southernmost part of Apple Valley. It's kind of like tucked behind a Hesperia. Mm-hmm. Actually live like less than a mile away from Braybeck. Nice. But we never do anything together. Yeah. But anyways, I live right up against some of the best riding in Southern California. So I'm very happy and blessed. I made a really good move last year, so I'm stoked.
Nice. Do we have a name for the ranch yet?
Yeah, it's Champ Ranch. It's a play on Champion Adventures, Champ ADV. It's called Champ Ranch. Nice. It's on Instagram. We're kind of slowly building it, just about as slow as how the progress is on the property. So I've done a bunch on the property, but for me it feels slow. For everybody else, they're like, "Dang, you've done quite a bit." So.
And now, do you struggle with all the permitting stuff like we do down here in the city?
Oh, let's not talk about the permitting.
Got it. It's my 5 acres, and if you're paying the taxes, then we'll talk.
Right. No, I'm. We're homesteading, and permits are. We deal with San Bernardino County, and it's all good. We're doing it. We're gonna let the cards fall as they will, when they fall, if you know what I'm saying. So
yes, sir. So then all the videos, all the reels, all the stuff that I see on your Instagram and that you post, that's all your neck of the woods?
Yeah, it's the Champ ADV reels, and some on my Instagram are all the hills above my house. I literally can ride straight to Big Bear and back. I just did it actually yesterday with a customer that wanted to ride with me for 2 days out here. So it's been a work in progress to get our property dialed so we can accept, people to go ride. And so all those trails that people might see on our Instagram or whatever is all available. I can take you on all the secret stuff that I have, or maybe you already know a bit about it, but it's fun. I try to just connect all the trails that are up there into kind of just a fun, flowy trail ride that makes you smile the whole time.
Nice.
Rather than, you don't want to be grunting and groaning about how I took you through a bunch of rocks, That's not any fun.
Yeah, I thought he was a Baja racer, not a hard enduro guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's actually, to tell you the truth, there's some amazing roads from my house to Big Bear that remind me a lot of Baja. And actually just yesterday I rode, it's called the 173 and it's shut down, but I mean, you can ride it anyways, but it was the longest running dirt road that was actually marked with, all the proper signage and stuff like that. And so it's since stopped. And my stepdad, Brad Oxley, used to talk to me about, or he talks about it, how he used to ride it all the time. He'd park in Hesperia and go ride it. And so I just rode it yesterday, and man, it's fun. It's a perfectly graded road, so you can flat track the whole thing. And I'm gonna have to go take him up there for a little reunion maybe this weekend.
Nice.
So dude, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, that's crazy living so close to that, being able to just jump on the bike and ride.
Yeah, it's very easy. I wish I would have done it prior to, or during my professional motorcycle racing career. Instead, I did it towards the end, but it played a key factor in my ability to race last year in the Score series. So I'm just thankful I'm here.
Yeah, and so I mean, yeah, having the training grounds right then and there, and so something you mentioned earlier. So customer. So is this something that you're opening it up, doing tours and classes, or what's going on there?
I'd like to, I've been doing this a long time. It's been 15 years since 2008, I got my first professional license racing motocross, and then I became an off-road racer. And you learn a lot about, riding the motorcycle, prepping the motorcycle, how to, approach obstacles, how to race at the highest level, how to train. And then you're done racing and it's like, okay, what do I do? Do I go frame houses or do concrete or, operate machinery or whatever? And I don't really want to change what I'm doing. So all of those things that you said are I'm available for. I would love to teach people how to, attack a log or jump a K-rail or slide a fire road, ride single track. I still teach, people. I mentor guys like, Nick Garvin, and he's kind of at the end of it, but not the end of his career, but at the end of listening to me. He still listens, but he's heard a lot of what I have to say. So, yeah. But anyways, I'm totally open to doing coaching, and I'm constantly thinking about new ways I can offer services. And really the best way is just if you come out to my property, I'm an open book. And so that's the service I provide. If you want to go on a trail ride, cool. If you want to, do some lessons, cool. If you want to set your your motorcycle up to, best, fit you, I can help you with that, because that's kind of really what I've been doing for 15 years. So it's an all-inclusive type thing. And I'm stoked to be able to offer that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and I'm going to say this in a very sarcastic, with a little bit of experience, right?
Right.
So
exactly.
Something I noticed, and this was like, just tooling around. I noticed on the Score website, right? You got your own little home there, and the vehicle specifications for, I think it was might have been in 2019. It was a Honda 2019 CRF 450L. Engine builder, Colton Udall. Chassis, Colton Udall. Transmission, Colton Udall.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so you do everything. That's how you're like prepping bikes and building bikes and doing all of that. I mean, is that?
Yeah. Like I just recently took a Gen 1 450X and completely tore it down. It actually was once Skylar Howe's bikes, and he sold it to a guy named Dave Martin, Happy Dave.
Yeah.
And I completely rebuilt that bike and made it into something quite beautiful. And I've taken, the lead acid battery from the past and upgraded it to a lithium battery with a BMS, an anti-gravity battery it's called. And I've updated a lot of the wiring, and I put a relay in the system so the light automatically turns on, and replace transmission bearings and gears and the crankshaft and main bearings and balancer bearings. Like I can do it all as far as the engine work. I'm kind of trying to go away from the mechanical side of things because of it's just tough right now. So, and I'm very meticulous. So I spend a lot of time, making sure the part looks good and also, works good, or the whole package works good. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, if you wanted a service like that, like I offered Dave Martin, I'm pretty much to the point where I'm going to charge double because, so if you want that service, it's still available, but it's going to be, costly, because I've just, there's no way else to make myself happy other than to be paid properly for it. So I'm more towards, offering the skill set of, learning how to attack a certain obstacle or riding or training and stuff like that. I'm more excited about that currently, so to say.
Well, yeah. And I mean, with everybody, I mean, we're pretty much worldwide, but so wherever you're at, but especially if you're in California, I mean, the riding and it's such a difference. I mean, I really learned that lesson this week. I'm like, dude, I need to start investing in tires instead of shiny parts.
Yeah. You definitely wear out tires, and it's just about, you got to have a reliable motorcycle that works well. Is really, in my opinion. I still make stuff shiny though. Yeah.
I've not seen a bike that you've been on that ever looked, like, okay, this thing wasn't ready for the start line.
Right.
I remember, I think it was one of the first years I met you at a Baja Rally. It was like every day you showed up to the start and it was like brand new. like you hadn't even ran the previous day's stage.
Yeah. Well, I guess I had good help then, or I was working hard on making it, making it prepped and ready to go. Unfortunately, I think that year I had a little wiring issue that held me back, but obviously I didn't really know how to navigate that well. I still kind of don't, but that's one of the things that I will openly admit that I need to work harder on, but it's an ever growing thing, the navigation thing. So,
and then just when you get to know it, they go from French to English, and then they start throwing multiple notes in one box, and they start changing it up. But what made you curious about getting into rally and giving it a shot?
Well, back when Johnny Campbell was racing rally, he kind of turned me onto it, to tell you the truth. I raced for JCR, and then he was like, we should go, if you're interested in this, we should go learn how to navigate. And I did a class with Jimmy Lewis, and Johnny was there, and Kama was there. And that was cool. We had fun. We made our own little road books. I picked it up decently, and I like the approach of, navigating through the desert. So, and then I did a few road books with Johnny when he was practicing for Dakar. And then it kind of all fell apart there with that program. And I didn't really do much navigating, and I, just really, rally's grown massively in the U.S. since that time, I would say. And so that I think I kind of refired back up, and I built my own rally tower. I think it was in 2018, and used, I went to Jamie Campbell's shop and built a rally tower, which was really fun. And it's still the rally tower I have, and it works. And it's kind of cool. I'm proud of it, because I didn't do the welding, but I did all the fabricating on it. And then Jamie welded it all. So, and I still have like drawings of it, so I can build it, and it's pretty cool. So I'm stoked on that. But the rally thing just I've always been interested in it. It was the next step with Baja. After racing Baja, I wanted to race Dakar and be there. I just really, I guess the opportunity didn't all roll together properly. So I wasn't there. So I made some efforts to try to get to Dakar about the same time that I purchased this property that I'm on. And it was one or the other, and I was trying to do both, because I always try to jam everything in. And I had to finally make a decision to pull out of trying to go to Dakar. And because, of course, I won the Road to Dakar at Sonora, and so I was kind of like, I had the option early on, and then things happened later that year that made it really hard on me. And then COVID, of course, got more hectic. I don't like using that, but every resource I went to, that was their excuse. And so I actually still have a full rally kit from Simona Ghazi that will fit on like a 450 RX or an L. And I need to build that bike. I need to build it I want to build it out of a 450L, so it has a license plate and it's all like street legal. So I'm working on that, working on getting the time to figure that one out. I might actually, even once I build it, I might sell it. I was trying to build it, test it, go through all the quirks of it, and then fully rebuild it and sell it. But I don't know, maybe someone listening eventually might be interested in it if they want to. It'll be like one of the only U.S. kind of rally replica bikes, that holds a decent amount of fuel. So,
well, that actually, and that one is not orange or blue, and
right, exactly,
and that it was easily plated. Because even the stuff you get that's orange and blue to put a plate on it, unless you start with the 500 EXC, but they don't have the kits, and yada, yada, yada. It turns into a big.
So you're saying that what I've got might be even more valuable than I even think.
That's what I'm thinking, because there's a lot of guys that will not set foot on a red or blue bike, orange or blue bike. And, but yeah, the big thing is being the license plate. And then that kit is designed, if I remember correctly, it's designed around the regular frame. It's not a ladder frame type bike. So it's not going to be a 701 that's converted or a 690 that's converted.
Yeah, this is, the kit I have is supposed to fit on an RX. So I'd bolt an RX airbox on and a subframe on my 450L. And it'd be street legal, and then the engine would get, like I said, new transmission, bearings, crankshaft, all fresh, and then I'd probably off it, just because the money that I spent to prepare, it really, how it all came together is I bought that kit from Simone Agazi to race Dakar, and then I was working with Honda to try to get a 450X or an L, and they backed out going into the Dakar, and it was too much work for me and too much overhead, and so I just pulled the plug, and that's kind of the unfortunate side of it. But I'm grateful that I made the decision to definitely buy this property over spending money on the Dakar. Hopefully I'll be racing Dakar whenever I can.
Yeah. I was going to say that's definitely a yet, because I mean, just in the stuff that I've seen, you know, everybody with the navigation and all of that stuff, but something that I kind of wanted to touch on is you have a kind of a unique ability. And I was kind of chuckling about this at the last, I think it was at the 500. Yeah, I think it was at the 500. You have an ability to ride way longer than anybody else that I know of.
Yeah. Well, I've always thrived on like focus, and I guess that's my key, is that I work off of focus, and I train pretty hard when it's time to train. I used to train a lot different than like when I was racing for JCR, and then kind of getting to a point with Ox Motorsports. Like in 2014, I rode 655 miles and led overall the whole time. And I did that because I felt like that was the best strategy for our team, because it was my brother and Mark Samuels and I. And so I basically, did half the race, and I would have split it up differently now, but that's what I did. And, Johnny always helped me with the focus side, not necessarily like helped me day to day, but he groomed me for it. It was like, when I first started racing, I'd race 100 miles and I'd get back on the bike and race at 150. And then later on, in 2010, I raced 350 miles, which was only like, my second year on the team. And I raced from, Ensenada to El Crucero. And then I did that a couple times, and my fitness just kind of rolled together, where in 2014, I thought, like, I can do half the peninsula. I know I can. And so I tested myself, and I did it. And then I had to get on the bike even one more time, because my brother made a mistake, but, that's a really cool story in 2014, but that's what Baja provides, is really cool stories. But, this last year, Derek Osterbauer and I and Nick Garvin, it rolled together to where, I broke my back in late 2016, and I haven't ever been in the shape, like I was wrecked, and I've been kind of dabbling in the rally stuff. And I think it was 18 or 19, I did Baja Rally. I did a stage that, I was on the bike for a decent amount of time, and I was proud of myself. It was the year that I almost won, but made a really bad mistake at the end. And, but those stages were like 200 plus miles. You're supposed to say Ks, but I'm a creature of habit. But, so I was proud of myself there. But, last year when I bought this property, it was just, I was able to train, and I made a commitment to Derek after he Ironmaned and won the 250. And then Nick won Silver State and Parker 250 overall by himself. And, I just made a commitment to them that we would go back to Baja and race. And it just rolled. It kind of just happened to, unfortunately, where Nick started the bike at the 500, and he gave me the bike with a 12-minute lead. And I was working on my fitness at that point, and I rode 180 miles that race, and I did pretty good, but I didn't have any nutrition for that race. I just drank water, Gatorade, ate Cliff Bars and stuff, and I was pretty much that's whatever, I was starting to lose focus, down towards San Catine and stuff. And, then I actually, September came around, unfortunately, Nick crashed, and we didn't have him anymore as a teammate because he hit a side-by-side head on, which is really unfortunate, but we're stoked to see him riding again, which is really cool. And I'm sure you'll see him in the future as far as rally, because he has a huge interest in that. But the 400 came along, and I made a really important call to Hammer Nutrition, and they helped me out massively. And they talked to me about like what my nutrition was, years prior, and then kind of guided me in what they suggest. And so I raced the Baja 400, and I raced 230 miles, and I'd been getting my butt kicked in the score racing stuff since I broke my back. And so when I'd race, I'd be all right. I'd be a decent competitor, but I wouldn't have lead pace. And at the Baja 400, I finally proved to myself again, like I can do lead pace. And cause I was able to hunt down, Brandon Prieto, and I passed them in the pits at the 400, and I rode 230 miles, which was like 4.5 hours on the bike. But it still wasn't, the feat that so I put I set my sights on racing a long time, and then I trained for it and just got mentally prepared, and really Hammer Nutrition kind of was the steroid, so to say, to help me. That's exactly what I needed. And it's not a steroid, but it sure works like one. They do a great job with their products. Heat is an electrolyte that helps you keep, think properly, and Perpetuum allows you to have like a longer lasting energy for longer endurance stuff. And then they offer a bunch of different products, but that was my shoe into riding a bunch of miles, and my body was fit enough. Once you get to a certain amount of strength, it's all about the mind, and your body can kind of break down. But if you can stay focused and not make the mistakes in Baja, then, you can carry that lead pace and not end up on your head. So that's kind of my secret. It was Hammer, and it was training and mental training. Some of the training I do, like I'll bring my heart rate up, and I'll do a lot of it's silly, but I do a lot of counting. So if I do like sprint intervals, I just count. So I bring my oxygen, my blood oxygen level to a certain capacity where I'm, anaerobic. I believe that's the right term.
Yeah.
And then I make my brain work. So just like, on a dirt bike, you're working really hard to race, and you have to take in all this information to be successful and attack the terrain that's in front of you. And if you override the bike, your brain usually makes a mistake, and that's how you crash. So, that's my secret really is, I just do mental training along with regular training, and it helps me get into you just set your eyes on it and you go achieve it. And I think there's a decent amount of guys that can do, maybe not. I mean, Justin Morgan rode the same stint that I did at the 1,000, and he really rode better than me. Not too many, I guess, because I led overall the whole time. It was shadowed, but if you paid attention really closely, he rode better towards the end. I think because he got more days of pre-running, and he didn't have to ride another 200 miles at the end of the race. So, there's a few guys that can, I think the guys in Dakar, I always look at, I always convert the kilometers to miles and go, oh, I could have done that day. Oh, but it's, you never know till you go do it.
Yeah.
Well, so.
And the big challenge is when, and you kind of saw, because I remember the 2018 series when you were there, and I remember it was oh man, I know I'm his border rat. I'm trying to remember his name, but I remember he was
Jacob.
Yeah, Gonzalez. Yeah, you guys were there was like some filming going on, and I think he had a GoPro on your helmet. And even then, I think it was a session, so it was the smaller one, but you came back, and I remember overhearing that you were saying that it was bugging you, it was bugging your neck. So I didn't know that there was that short of a gap between when you're, from your accident to that, and that it still carried over. But I mean,
I've always been sensitive with my neck at high speeds, because a GoPro is like a flag up there, and so, I mean, if your neck's cramping or like irritated, it goes directly into your mind and breaks your focus. So I'm always, Jacob definitely knows me as a whiner when it comes to GoPros, but all the footage that I've been taking up in my hills, I've been GoPro training with my neck.
Yeah.
So I've gotten better at it, but I don't do any 90 mile an hour racing up there in the hills. So that, again, as soon as you get past like, 55, 60 miles an hour, the thing becomes quite it's not very aerodynamic.
No.
So.
Yeah, I just, the setup I got now puts it in front of the mouthpiece. I have one of the Climb helmets where it just clips in right in front of the mouthpiece. So I think it's in a better spot. But I've ridden on the highway with a GoPro up there sitting down. So I kind of have an idea what you're talking about. And
you're also built a little sturdier than me. I mean, your neck is probably, a little bit larger than mine. I got a pencil neck.
Yeah, but with much better physical shape. And it's funny. So I've done some internal modifications and blueprinting to the system, and lost a lot of weight, and nutrition and exercise has kind of come back up to the forefront.
Nice.
Especially after this weekend. So when you talk about training, like, is this like, are you in the gym? I mean, is there certain things like you focus more on just aerobic activity, like, not so much strength training, but more just endurance type training, or what's kind of that recipe? Because I mean, I'm still, I know you mentioned there's other guys that have ridden the distances, but to me, you're like one of the most competitive. Like, you look forward to that. Like, it's not like, oh, I got to ride 400. No, it's like, I'm going to ride 400 miles and I'm going to lead the whole way.
Right. Yeah. I changed the way I trained, like I said, and now I just ride it's called a dual fit. I wish I could find more, but Giant stopped making the bike. I think I got to find one on eBay or something, but I'm wearing it out. I've put on like 2 different sets of grips, and the seat's got a giant rip in it and stuff like that. But I still make the fan work. It's basically like an Aerodyne bike where you push and pedal. I used to road bike a lot. I like this dual fit bike because it stimulates the core. You can spin. The other thing about after I broke my back, I don't pedal very well from my toes because my gastroc muscle on both my legs doesn't fire. That's the reason why I have those tabs on the back of my foot pegs, is if I hit a G out or something, my ankles buckle. And so I don't ride like a ballerina like I used to, and because that's the proper way to ride a motorcycle is from your toes. And because you have the most amount of like body suspension through your ankles, knees, and your, your hips. So with this, I'm subject to the way I train. I can, like, I kind of, when I get on a bicycle, I just don't feel natural in training anymore. So I ride this dual fit bike by Giant. It's just like an Aerodyne. It's comfortable for me. It allows me to like stay motivated, and I don't have to. I stopped training for really long periods of time. The most I trained going into the Baja 1000 was an hour and 20 minutes, and I never rode. Like, I used to road bike I'd do like 80 to 100 miles down the coast or something like that. So massive difference from the way I train. it's simply what I feel comfortable with my legs. And then I do yoga, and I stretch and just get my hips to open up, because it's all based off of my my ailment, my residual spinal cord injury that I have, that not a lot of people know about. And like, if you haven't seen me in a while, and if I've been working hard, you'll see it, and you'll be like, why are you hunched over and walking weird? And it's just what happens to me. Mm-hmm. So when I'm limber and all, flexible, I walk decent. Mm-hmm. But when I'm tired, I show my show my ailments. But that's the way I train. It's just on an Airdyne bike, and then I ride, obviously, and it's like I said, it's a mental game. So like this Airdyne thing, I made it a goal that I stand on it to pedal. So I had to do more than 15 minutes mm-hmm. sprints, like full on, really aggressive heart rate, 195 sprints, mm-hmm. Before I raced the Ball 1000. And that was my, because in Mexico, you can sit, you can stand, you can sit, you can stand. You're never it's not like Supercross where you're like literally standing the whole time, really. And it's really aggressive. So in Baja, like I said, it's mostly mental. Same with rally. It's a mind game over a physical game, and it does get physical, obviously. But once you learn how to ride the motorcycle properly, and you learn how to think properly, it gets easier on your body. Is all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So that's my training is literally on a Airdyne dual fit bike, and I do yoga, and I integrate strength yoga. So some of the positions, like in the push-up pose or whatever, mm-hmm. or I don't even know all the names. I'm not a yoga guy. I just what I'm doing out there is technically called yoga. So mm-hmm. when I'm and I think it's 1,200 square feet of a patio, and I live in a trailer, and I work out of a container, mm-hmm. and it's beautiful in the mornings, and I'm able to train and stretch, and I just get into it, and I don't do it every day anymore, but I was hitting it pretty hard before the 1,000. Yeah.
Well, what you're saying, I'm thinking okay, well, what are the things? And definitely what catches my attention, and I would have never thought of, but while you're exerting yourself, to also be training your mind to think while the body is in an elevated state.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how hard it is to bring up your heart rate to maybe they say, you subtract your age from 220 mm-hmm. and that's your max heart rate. I'm sure I've seen numbers higher than that, but, so a guy who's listening, maybe who's 40 and he's training, their base heart rate, what they want to train at to create a base, of strength, so to say, you want to be in the, 115 to 130 for, 35 minutes plus. And that's going to help you create a base in a strong, heart, so to say. Mm-hmm. And, but once you take it up a little higher and you're more intense, you'd be surprised how hard it is to just count intervals, 1 through 60 and then 60 through 1, and 1 through 60 and 60 through 1, 1 through 60 and 60 through 1, especially when you're, working really hard. You start 60, 59, 58, 57, and then you make a mistake and you're that tells you that you're really, your body's working too hard for you to make that mental decision in racing. So if you're working that hard, okay, I can't run my heart rate up to 155 and navigate, because I'll make a mistake, or I can't read terrain at 155, if that makes sense. It becomes, if you really think about it, it becomes something that you have to work for, and then you're ready for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm like, literally my mind's, because it's one of those things like I've never really actually thought of. But you're right. Like if you go back to a time like, I mean, anywhere, it's absolutely crazy, but it's so right. You know, you're paying attention to the wrong thing and especially on a two-wheel motorcycle in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's like anything. It's a rock, it's a whoop that's a little bit off timed, it's anything. And if you don't process it before you get to it, you know, so that's, I guess that is the literal physical explanation of riding in over your head.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. And your mind doesn't make any decision without breathing. Mm-hmm. So that's one of my mentors. You know, he's actually a key one that drove for me a long time. His name's TJ, and he just taught me it's called TBF, think, breathe, focus. Mm-hmm. And so anytime I say that term hundreds of times while I'm racing down in Baja. So if I make one tiny little mistake, or if my mind starts, you know, wandering off on, you know, if my crew's going to be at the next pit or any of that stuff, it's TBF, think, breathe, focus. And, it like I said, it's a mental game. It seems like it's physical, and it gets kind of foggy there, but it's mostly mental.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, not when, you know, we're asking about the training and then like what you're doing. And yeah, it's a lot of it is just exertion and thinking, like training the mind and stretching and staying limber, loose. There's no like, yeah, you know, I'm doing strength training on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And, you know, it's all of this. No, it's just basically, it's a whole approach to it. But more importantly, it's like the exertion part and the mental part, rather than focusing on how much you can bench press versus how much, you know, you're doing in cardio.
Yeah. The strength stuff, like, fortunately for me, I'm 6 foot and 195. So I have enough strength to manage the motorcycle. Mm-hmm. If I was, you know, like, say Derek Osterbauer's size, it takes a little bit more strength to lift the front end and, you know, push through the foot pegs with your legs. And what I mean by that, he's 165, you know, and it's different to manage a motorcycle. So you kind of have to do a little bit different training. I'm fortunate to be strong enough to manage it. Mm-hmm. So that being said, if I do yoga, I can kind of put myself in a pose where it's just like, you know, standing over the handlebars and, you know, riding over a set of whoops or whatever. And if your muscles can breathe through like a minute of holding that, it's the same as attacking an obstacle. And then you can sit, take a breath, stand back up, attack the next thing, you know? So it's all about, I have the strength naturally. There was some stuff where I was doing box jumps and kind of trying to get my glutes and legs to get a little stronger there. But, most of the time I was doing yoga and, you know, riding the Airdyne bike.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I mean, the thing about shows.
Yeah. The thing about the Airdyne is, it allows you to put the amount of training, like if you have a job, which most guys do, and someone to, you know, a family to take care of, and you don't have 2, 3, 4 hours like some guys train, like I used to have. You know, I could leave from my house and ride down the coast and basically spend all day. And when I got done, I was smoked. I'd take a nap, drink a protein shake, and the day was wasted. Mm-hmm. So the Airdyne bike, you know, you get your intensity in, you get your focus training in, and then you get to work. Yeah. So there's a bunch of people out there saying you don't, you know, cardio doesn't do it. You know, you don't have to do cardio, but it's certainly, you know, it's a cardio sport. So in order to make the right decisions, you got to do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said something earlier that I think directly relates to that. And you were talking about your neck and how your neck gets to your brain, you know,
exactly.
It starts stiffening up. the hands are no different. The legs are no different. It has a trickle effect, and it's like the weakest part is the part that's going to get to the brain first, or the part that, so if everything as a whole is firing, correctly, and if it takes, cardio or whatever it is to kind of get to that point, and so that you can let your brain do what it needs to do, which is focus on the terrain or the navigation or, whatever it's doing.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's crazy. And so, okay, so we talked a lot about fitness, and that's like, I'm literally going to like play that part over, because right now that's at the point that I'm at. I've realized that I lost a lot of muscle mass. And so I'm manhandling an adventure bike is not going to be the easy thing to do anymore. Well,
you want to finesse it.
Yeah. Well, I finessed it right into the ground this weekend. But that we'll definitely talk about that later, because I'll probably hit you up and come up and do some training with you.
Right on.
So we could do a few sessions, because I realize it, and I think that's important for everybody. Like, you got to realize that, okay, I need help. You need somebody to coach you on riding that's done it before, that understands this stuff and can pick up on mistakes that you may not even know you're making.
Yeah. And give you, small, sometimes 3-4 tips makes you that much better. And then you work on it, and,
Yeah. So that I'm definitely looking forward to that. So,
right on.
Champ Adventures and in tours, and what's going to, do you still have the Africa Twin? I think you had an Africa Twin, right?
Yeah, I owned one and I sold it, just simply because, I needed the dollars to develop my property, and part of that money went into the well we just drilled a couple months ago. So
nice.
I turned it into water, which is going to feed me for the rest of my time here on the property. So
yeah, that's I would take that too. Yes.
Yeah, I would still, like, my wife really likes riding the Africa Twin, and it's a fun bike. The way I like to look at it is like, you ride a CRF 450X real fast on like a single track, and the track's maybe 2 feet wide sometimes. On an Africa Twin, you can ride it real fast, but you need to be, on a graded road. And then it's kind of the same thing. It's like, if you're going fast, the graded road is still single track, because there's only one good line around it. Because the bike's so big, and you're kind of skating it in some spots, and hard to stop, and, keep it upright and stuff. So it's pretty amazing what I've seen some of these guys do on these adventure bikes. I give it to them, because they're that's a big motorcycle.
Yeah. And you have to keep them at speed. Otherwise they do turn into that 500-pound animal.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So, and what, so you're doing tours, or what are your goals? What are we doing still on that side?
Yeah. So I bought the property, and I'm working on just setting up. I really want to do some schools, and like I said, it's like kind of an all-inclusive thing, but if you deliberately want to work on something, I'm happy to help you with it. And I really just bought this property it's perfect for doing, riding schools and day rides, or, like a 2-day ride up to Big Bear would be pretty cool. Anything's designable. And then it's kind of like a shoe-in thing where, I can assess how you ride, and then I'm happy to take you down to Baja, and then we can do a 4-day ride, and I know that you're safe on your motorcycle. And so there's those things. I haven't gotten into the rally side of things, and there's plenty of opportunity to build road books out of my house. I just got to get back into that. And I think I'm going to work on it a little bit during the summertime to try to be more prepared to, do Sonora and Baja Rally and stuff, because I really want to. I'm for sure going to do Baja Rally, because I have so much fun there. And Sonora will just be, if I can sell the sponsorship deal, so to say. So we'll see. Purvines Racing has helped us massively at the 1,000, and hopefully Ron wants to help at the the jamming of all the rallies at the end of the year.
I know, right?
It's unfortunate that they're not spaced out, but
yeah,
it'll be cool to make them all. It'd be like a month worth of, racing consecutively. I'll surely be fit,
yeah. Well, yeah,
and the bike will be worn out.
Well, you have a week to prep it.
Right.
Between the two. So yeah, I mean, you pick and choose your battles, but I think that's the whole endurance part of it. It's kind of like our opportunity to do the Dakar. I would love to get both organizations and be like, yeah, we're going to do this and work together. But, we just know that wouldn't necessarily happen. But then that's what we decided on then the Chasing Waypoints challenge to see who might actually be interested in doing that.
Yeah, I know I'm interested. I actually really I don't know a lot about the Colorado Rally.
Mm-hmm.
All I heard briefly was that it's Malimoto and you have to run tubes. And I was like, heck yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like nitro mooses, but, I'm all about the challenge of, running a tube, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Tubes.
It definitely is interesting. For a lot of guys, I was like, oh, the moose and the flat. And I know how much of a pain in the ass it is to change a flat, especially on an adventure bike. And it's not the business, but that's just one more game. It's one more thing that kind of spices it up. It's tube man. Well, how low do I want to run the air pressure? Well, how am I going to ride? Speaking of, it's funny how this is a reoccurring theme in this is that what you were talking about earlier, counting.
Yeah.
Counting is no different than watching the terrain come at you and then all of a sudden spotting that rock and going, if I hit that, that's going to hurt.
Right.
And processing that while you're exerted.
It's pretty simple, but it works.
Yeah. Yeah, because all it literally takes one and it's over the bars, or it's a dent in the wheel, or it's a toasted wheel, or a flat, or whatever. Whether you're running a moose or a tube, for that matter.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
What are the other details that I'm missing on that? I'm not even sure what it's called. The Colorado. I'm just calling it the Colorado Rally.
Yeah, it's called the COTA Rally. So Colorado, Utah, 5-day Malimoto style. And yeah, I mean, you got to be street legal on the bikes, gonna have to run a mirror, turn signals. Like it's got to be a road legal bike because it is Mike, the guy that organizes it, did a really good job. And it took him, I think it was 2.5 years to get every single permit needed. The BLM knows who he is. The National Forest Service knows who he is. They reviewed his plan. So it's crazy. It's going to open the door for more rallies here in the States for sure.
Awesome.
But everybody was like, okay, we'll let you do it, but you need to do this, or this is our requirement and this is what we do. And that kind of thing. And so, yeah, it's basically, you can take you would take a street legal bike and as it gets delivered and then throw your rally stuff on it and your choice mods and then go rally the thing. And yeah, Malimoto, you're going to be out in the wild and you got to be self-sustained. And so he's working on it. I know the program's changed a little bit from the first year to the second year. But I mean, it's that event is only going to grow,
Yeah. I'm going to try to get some friends to come along. It'll be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's in September, you said?
Yeah, it's in September. Oh, correct.
All right.
Yeah, I can get you. I'll send you some of the info and the contact, at least for or Mike's information, because he's the guy that created the thing and got the thing going. And so you use the rally comps before, so they're using rally comp on that
nice.
for tracking and waypoint management and speed zones and the usual. So,
right on.
So yeah, it'd definitely be cool to get you out on that. So
what's are they going to have like a max fuel range that, do you know of that yet or not really?
That I bet I know the answer to that question, but most of the bikes that I saw were just running their standard desert tanks.
Right.
Nothing didn't see anybody with, the rally setup, 18 gallons of fuel and, and the tanker truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, I think he designs it basically around what would be considered like a rally light bike. So what you rode at the Baja Rally.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Would work on that. So, but yeah, I mean, that is, I was stoked. Well, after talking to him and we still keep in contact and all this stuff. And, you know, the terrain and the stuff, like it's technical enough. It's wide open. There's a lot of different, you know, things to see and the scenery and all this stuff. So everybody that came back from that event was stoked. I like nobody, honestly, nobody offline or online had anything bad to say about it, which was very awesome considering it was the first year.
Right. And like legitimately everybody camped in their tent or?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think they are working. I don't know if that was going to happen for this year, but they were going to try and get it closer to town. So there would be some places where you could stay in town or stay close by.
Right.
But I don't know. I haven't touched base with them. I actually kind of want to do an update on it because he's been riding. He's got a ride before the summer, but he only gets between the end of winter when the snow clears. But then he's got to do it before summer because then it gets hot. So it's like he's got very limited time to plan road books and stuff like that. So,
right.
But yeah, I've seen the scenery, the pictures, and all that stuff, and it's just awesome. So
super cool.
Definitely worth it there. Unfortunately, the calendar filled up so fast, and I didn't get a chance to plan to go up there. I got to go to a couple other events, but definitely going to get on that program because I've never seen Colorado. So
yeah, it's me too, pretty much. I think I've been there once, but not very much.
Yeah, the in and out. All right, so we know the Champ Ranch thing. Do you have a website for it already?
Yeah, our website's Champion Adventures. You can reach it. There's we offer a few products for the 450L and the X, like just some electrical stuff and a coolant outlet that eliminates the thermostat, which is pretty cool. It helps us and our family, and there you can kind of email us or reach out via Instagram, however it's is easiest. And we can arrange, going riding or whatever. And we're certainly, excited to also ride in Baja. Just recently we did a kind of like an Oasis ride where we went down to Baja Oasis, and which is on the southern Colorado River. Really cool. And then we stayed at a really secret hot springs, which is, we camped there, and that was fun. And so a little unique ride there, a little bit different than what like the generic guys are doing down there. But I also like the generic ride where you start in Tecate and come home to Tecate, but go towards like the coast. When it's the summertime and it's hot, it's kind of the necessary path. So yeah. Eventually we'll work into taking people, all the way down south and showing them some of the unique relationships that we have at different areas. So
yeah, that would be definitely awesome. Cause I mean, I know the places.
I know some places. There's definitely guys that know it way better than I do.
Yeah.
But I'm learning some stuff, and fortunately I have some relationships with guys that are pretty dang cool and share really cool trails with me.
Nice.
And like Jimmy Sones and Kevin Daniels is all tied in with some of the really gnarly guys that build trails. He builds them also. So I think that there's definitely a ride to have if you wanted to go with me. And it's a good time. I bring my dad, Brad Oxley, and he's a full-time comedian.
Nice. And I was like, dude, you're totally right. So I saw that you guys had done that ride out of the Baja Oasis. If I remember, you guys came up the Rumorosa, no?
Yeah, we went down the Rumosa grade, and then we went up the mono grade. So the mono grade is we raced down it in 2013, and then I think we raced up it in 2019. But it's a technical route, super rocky, but it was that on that ride. It's a fun, you get to the top there and it's a beautiful scenery and it's a nice ride. Yeah. So really what the cool part of that ride for me was like, Justin Strong, who runs the Baja Oasis. It's like his lodge down there. He has found and rebuilt a hot springs that is totally secret, not Guadalupe Canyon, and which people still think that that's where we went, but this is a total secret, and it's like I couldn't even take you back there. Really, he did a good job of navigating us there, and it's just really cool. It was like you discovered a hot springs because nobody's there, and nobody's there with their hand out trying to accept any money, and you literally have to fill the pool, and so it was a really fun time, and everybody that was on that ride was like hanging over the next few days just on the stoke that they were on,
Nice.
So it was cool.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah. And I mean, in that area, it's not, what I was getting at is like to get down, like you have to know that area and what you can and can't ride, because it can turn to sand and whoops like instantly, especially if you're on an adventure bike. That's not the business.
Yeah. And the adventure bike is definitely a challenge there.
Yeah. And then, so my question is, so is it possible to go the Rumorosa grade with an adventure bike?
Down it? Or you could do the La Rumorosa grade down and up on an adventure bike. Mm-hmm. Going up the mono grade,
no way.
You're gonna have a little bit more, you're gonna work harder.
Yeah. But on the Rumorosa side, or the Rumorosa grade, I mean, I was trying to see the videos and stuff like that. And I mean, obviously it's rough, so you have to be not as timid in the dirt, but it still looked passable on a bigger bike.
Yeah, you could do it.
Yeah.
I think that a bigger bike could ride the grade, no problem. It's just rocky in some spots where you just gotta, there's a lot of like basketballs just sitting around waiting to throw you on your head. but there's also embedded rock, and it's all like packed in some spots. You just got to respect it. And one of the hardest things is, focusing on the trail because of the scenery and how quickly the trail, there's so much, it drops away off the edge, and it's just, there's like a bunch of switchbacks, and it's all cool to just take in and, see it. So there's kind of like this treacherous feel just because you're switching back so many times and dropping fairly quickly,
Yeah.
It's not very steep. It's just really, it's steep. The trail's not steep. The mountain's steep, So
yeah,
pretty cool.
Oh, I've seen it. I remember growing up watching the score races and going down where they're racing that, and the trophy trucks having to do 3-point or 12-point turns, to get around it. And I'm like, dude, that just looks bad. And I'm like, I wonder if you could take an adventure bike through that, because I've had people ask about that, like, oh, can you get from Rumorosa, like if you were going to come back out through Laguna Hansen, but then hang a right and then go down to the floor, basically over to the Mexicali side. I'm like, well, the only road I know or the only area or trail I know of is the Rumorosa grade.
Yep.
So it can be done.
You could do it. It's a 2-track with some rocks.
Got it. I think what I'll do is I'll see if I can get my buddy Travis from Every Single Sunday to do it first.
There you go.
He's much more talented on a bike than I am. So, and does some of the hard enduro stuff. So he's, I'm sure he could do it.
Yeah, you guys just got to go together. He's got to babysit you.
Yeah, exactly. I need my babysitter.
Right.
Well, until I get more skill and talent, which, I think that's. Do you have like a schedule for training or what you would be doing?
I'm an open book, really. Like it's going to start getting to a point where, more people will schedule, but I want to, start working with people, and it's just about, making that final step on progression of, to tell you the truth, I'm building an outdoor bathroom on my property When that's done, it's a game on because,
Yeah.
Everybody's got to use the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
So that's the one turnkey thing that will make it all work.
Yeah.
So
nice. Well, dude, that's awesome. And then 5 acres, that's you got trails all around that and then leading out, I imagine. So
well, yeah, there's houses all around us, but there's not we're perfectly placed, so it seems like we own 40 acres, but we only own 5. So it's quite I'm pretty stoked on it.
Yeah. Nice. Dude, that's awesome. And and up in that area, I'm sure, the sunsets and just chilling and hanging out. And it's got to be pretty epic. So
yeah, there are some downsides. Unfortunately, you got to talk about that. And that's the wind, unfortunately. But, I've got some stuff set up to where we're kind of comfortable, so
yeah. And
then we're getting a yurt. So when we do like group rides, it'll be a fun kumbaya type situation where everybody's in the yurt.
Yeah. And,
it'll be fun. We're getting games and we'd like to do, like a mini golf thing and throwing axes or axe throwing and just stuff to keep people entertained outside of riding the dirt bike.
Yeah.
And then my neighbor also, he's all really excited about motorcycles. He's got one. He's got side-by-sides. He owns some property, and I'm going to build a little enduro cross track with not a real enduro cross track, just with obstacles. So with, different levels. So if you wanted to learn how to attack logs on an adventure bike, I can teach you that, or go through some rocks,
Mm-hmm.
So there's those type of obstacles also.
Nice. Yeah. Well, you got the room for it.
Exactly. Yep.
Nice. Okay. So before we turn this down, Baja story or racing story, the most epic story you got, most memorable.
Oh,
is there one you could pick?
I don't know. There's a lot of stories, and they don't all come together. You want to know the story that's pretty much kind of sat me on as far as score racing goes. It's actually scary. It's going to scare people, but I don't about 150 miles in this last year, racing in my second section. So it was closer down towards, I'm spacing on the name of it. I'll think of it here, but I was holding it wide open down a road at night, and it was around 1,100 miles. So I had quite a bit of, time on me at that point. And the 1X bike was out in the lead quite a ways. And so there was it was kind of this lull of, not too much pressure, but I was still, you still have a hope that maybe they have a mechanical or something like that. But I'm holding it wide open down a road, and I, out of the corner of my eye, a big full-size bull, completely white, just gets up and runs across my path. And I literally ducked, moved towards the left. I was already on the left side of the race course, and dropped my elbow and moved as if you're gonna dodge a cactus. That's how close I missed the bull's head. And it was the final scare for me, I think, for holding it wide open in Baja, in score stuff, just because of the circumstances with score racing and stuff. I still want to hold it wide open racing rally for some reason.
Yeah.
But it was I've hit a car head on at the Baja 500, sir, but this scared me. I guess it's because I'm 35 and I have a family and a kid and stuff. So I really don't, I want to be here for my family. And that's my scary story. Just that's something that sticks in my memory, that kind of continuously, just when I think that I want to go back down to Mexico and race a score event, I think of that, and it helps me sit back down and realize that I've done what I've done and I'm happy about it. And on to, the fun rallies.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, and, that's, I can only imagine, because it's at that point, the countdown from 60 to 59 to 58, all of a sudden feels like it's an hour in between each one.
Right.
Probably just over $1, wide open on a bike. That's what I'm.
Yeah. It was pretty scary. I was ready to get off. It was a scared factor I came into the next pit and I was like, hey, I don't really want to ride this motorcycle anymore, Yeah.
And
I had to, my wife and my whole family was at the next pit after that, like 55 miles later. And they're really they were at, Punta Caneo, the last pit for us. And, that was the only thing that really kept me going, was that I sent them out, they were there the whole day suffering the wind and just kind of like hanging out, waiting for us. And so it was the only thing really kind of driving me to continue to push forward. That's how much it scared me. And I've been through a lot of scary situations racing in ball at high speed. So it's, that's my scary story. All the other stuff is just like, I raced a bunch of miles, I have a really cool story about racing with my brother, and but it's actually on YouTube. It's a little brief one. It's, if you YouTube the 2014, I think you would put WFOX, Baja 1000. It's like sponsored by MSR, but it's a cool little like 7-minute video. I need to do more little YouTube stuff talking about my experiences with Baja, because it's helpful to relive some of that stuff. I think people would enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's 15 years of experience in all of these races, and then at the level that you are, that's absolutely. Next time you're in San Diego, you want to jump in front of a webcam, I got it here. Get you in we'll talk Baja stories, because I'm all about that, because there's everybody's, it's is this a weird reference, but it's like Excel. Everybody, it's the same program, but everybody uses it differently. So it's like score. Everybody races score, but it's a different experience for everybody. For some, it's tough and they'll never have a close call, or they'll have a questionable moment, but that questionable moment is not like the next person's questionable moment, like almost hitting a bull at over 100 miles an hour. And that's the nice thing about rally. At least you're home before dark usually.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's got to be home before sunset. So,
right.
Nice. Well, cool.
Yeah, thanks for
dude,
thanks for having me.
I'm super stoked, and I'll put the link for the website, for your website, on the description, so people can be checking it for updates and stuff like that. And then I'll get you some information on the Kota Rally as well. And then,
that'd be cool. I'm gonna put together a package where I can try to sell all those dollars to go racing, because it's expensive.
Yeah, as they say, if you want to make a small fortune in racing, start with a big one.
Right.
So nice. Well, dude, I really appreciate it. I'll let you get back to it. I know it's afternoon already and probably close to dinner time. So, but
yeah, we're getting hungry. All this talking.
Yeah. Nice, dude. I really appreciate you taking time, and absolutely, we're going to be in touch. I can't wait. Hopefully, we can schedule some time and come up, and you can show me some stuff.
All right.
What I'm messing up on.
Happy to have you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk soon, man. Thank you.
All right.
See ya. Bye. Awesome. So that was none other than Colton Udall. And that, oh man, I forgot to ask him a question. Gnarly Dave is going to be mad. We'll get it offline. Okay. So that was Colton Udall. That is crazy. Like, growing up in Baja to me and watching these guys ride and watching him ride, and it was him and it was Johnny Campbell, Steve Hengeveld, all of these guys on the Honda team, you know, and mixing it up and doing their thing, like, and then meeting him at Baja Rally and just the coolest guy ever. I mean, I held him at this place where I was like, I'm going to be very nervous and not going to crack jokes and not going to, because, you never know. But no. And so it just shows, he's, like you said, an open book and willing to help people and train them and all that stuff. So I really mean it. I have been considering about doing some different training and getting ready. I mean, riding a bike, riding a motorcycle, the more training you have, the more experience you have, the funner it gets, the easier it gets. I mean, I remember first getting on a motorcycle on a dirt bike with a buddy of mine that showed me how to ride, and I could make it 2 miles and my hands were killing me, arm pumping. I mean, just like I could barely ride. I'm like, dude, I need to take a break. I don't think I'm, stretching my hands and all this. 2 miles. And now it's like, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100, 300-mile days, albeit some of it on the road. And yeah, you get saddle sore, but that would be a much different case if I was riding the same way I was riding when I had really no experience and only, could only make it 2 miles. So to be able to learn from somebody that can handle a bike at speed, that's been competitive, that is competitive. I mean, Colton is still one of the guys that he shows up at any of the Baja races or any of the races, and he is someone to watch out for. He, like say, the focus and the nutrition, he knows what he needs to do to win and to be competitive and can still do it. So I'm absolutely excited to see where Champ Ranch continues to grow and the adventures and stuff like that he puts together. And, maybe get down for one of the tours that they do down at Baja Oasis with Justin Strong and those guys, and check that out. I mean, I'm like, there's just so much, to be able to participate and hang out with him and be able to learn and see all of these things. And of course, hear all the stories, of everything that he's done. So I'm absolutely excited. But anyway, with that being said, guys, you'll be listening to this on Sunday. It is Thursday afternoon. So we're almost to the weekend. But I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend. Enjoy yourselves. If you're out riding, remember, shiny side up, have fun, and learn as much as you can. Tag us. We want to know. We've seen a few of the tags and of people riding out there, and greatly appreciate it. Would love sharing that kind of stuff, and so get more people to follow your adventures and do all of that. So once again, guys, I really appreciate everybody tuning in. We are growing. We're on our way to 20,000 listens across the platforms. So we're still there. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and all of that. And with that being said, here's the outro. All right, that is a wrap for the Chasing Waypoints podcast this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you heard. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and a bunch of others. Also, follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook under Chasing Waypoints, Instagram, Chasing Waypoints _official, and, of course, the YouTube under Chasing Waypoints. Hope everybody has a good week. We will see you guys for the next episode. Remember, shiny side up, and don't forget to tag us. We want to see where you guys are riding and what you guys are up to. Have a great week.